Atlantis is sinking, and we're desperately trying to save the knowledge of this civilization in Atlantis Exodus. Join us as we review this game on Legendary Tactics.
This game has been an interesting journey for me. It's been I've played it solitaire. I've played it with 3 players. I've played with different player counts. I think it's just it's a really intriguing game, especially for those people who like that resource management type game.
Absolutely, and we did want to give a shout out to Capstone Games for this review copy.
Yes, absolutely.
It was very kind of them.
Yes.
And so has it grown on you?
Yeah, it absolutely has.
Okay.
And that's what I mean by a bit of a journey, because I really wasn't sure when I first started to dive into this game. It was, I'm really not sure if I'm going to like this.
When you look at this footprint of this board game, there's a lot to kind of take in.
Yes, there is.
Right? And but let's break it down a little, Nate.
Yeah.
Let's take a look at the mechanisms of the game. What do you think? What are your thoughts on those?
The mechanisms are really, it's quite an interesting game in many ways. And I feel like it's really a mixture of different types of Euro type games. It
has squished together.
It has kind of like the turn order bonuses.
Yep.
It has,
it's turning the dial wheel,
reminding of Zolkin.
Yeah.
It's got
Glass Road
or maybe Glass Road
Black
as
Forest.
Well. Also, it's got the meeples and so forth. So, I don't know. There's a lot that is reminiscent of other games, but there's no mechanic that seems entirely unique, but there's no mechanic that seems it doesn't seem like it's a cliche, I guess is what I'm trying to say. What would you say about it?
Totally agree. And I know another thing that I've noticed with this game is the layers that they've built into this game of complexity.
Yeah.
So you can start at a very base level, but you could start digging pretty quickly, pretty deeply into this game.
Yes.
And I don't even know if I'm already at the bottom yet myself. I think I've got some more paths of avenues to explore in this game, which is a great challenge.
Yeah, just one tip for learning the mechanisms is you might want to just kind of pick one path initially and just try and maximize that. And then in subsequent games kind of expand outward. And then you kind of get a better, suddenly the world kind of opens up to you and you can kind of see what the game is trying to do in its entirety.
Totally agree.
Yeah.
Totally agree. And that's how I took it. I took looking at just the purple faction at first and really tried to target the purple characters and then kind of expand it out from there.
Yeah, absolutely. And then from there, the components and aesthetics. What are your thoughts?
I think that's really nice. I really love that wheel we talked about earlier. That's the twisting wheels are really nice kind of centerpiece to the game. The game board itself kind of fitting together.
Yes.
Is kind of a unique kind of twist.
Yep.
And the rest of the components they're fine. The card,
they're all solid, like these nice
components.
wooden kings that we have to play with, and the rest of it is nice,
player
thick
mats
cardboard, and on so forth. But I mean, if I had one quibble with this game, it is kind of the aesthetics. I find that visually, this game already has a lot going on. Visually, this game looks like it has a lot going on, right?
And I do have one complaint.
Yeah.
The purple and brown workers.
Yes, yes. From a component standpoint.
If the lighting isn't good and you've got a purple and a brown worker, sometimes we've actually had to get out our phone light to verify was it a purple or a brown. So that's probably one little small detail that.
If you're in a well-lit room though, it's fine.
It is not a problem.
Totally. But
we did have a game like that where it was.
We're like,
we're trying to bring more lighting in.
Yeah.
So.
And I mean, it doesn't. The books look different, so you don't get those mixed up. But
for some reason,
the meeples,
meeples
but I just find like it is a very busy look to it.
Yes.
And I know, and early on when I was learning the game, I was kind of thinking, Jesus, this would be really nicer if it had a more streamlined aesthetic. Okay. Now that I've played it a lot, I don't know if I feel the same way. Because once you kind of learn what it's doing,
you kind of navigate your way around the board, right?
Yeah, and it doesn't bother you at all.
Right,
but I know that was my initial impression was like, whoa, this game looks busy.
Yeah.
And that can be an obstacle to learning, unfortunately.
Right. It can turn people off, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And to sit down if you sit down with a new person, like, hey, we're going to play this game, and they look at all this stuff, it's
they
like,
say, I'm out.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm starting to yawn.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But component-wise, they're fine. The other thing that's kind of funny, initially I was really kind of miffed at having the tiny meeples. Now I couldn't play any other way because if the big ones would be just too
much.
And
especially for filling your boats and your houses.
Yeah, putting the boats and the residences. So,
theme. Atlantis. Do you see it?
Yeah. Well,
there is like an ocean around our island, I suppose.
Yeah, but I love the idea of training workers using the books. You know, you've got like the craft books and the academic
intellectuals
books.
and the science.
They'll train your intellectuals, and sometimes it also costs tuition. You got to pay money to train.
Right.
So I love that thematically. I think that's kind of cool. You actually have to gather the knowledge and then literally give it to your workers to train them up. Right?
Okay. It's pretty light.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
There's not a ton of theme in this game.
Atlantis per se.
I think you could skin this almost a lot of different ways.
Yes, that's true.
And the game would stay the same.
Yes,
or pretty true to what you see.
I don't feel Atlantis is sinking particularly. It'd be neat if there was parts of the board that
mind you,
disappeared.
I did notice earlier the waves, they keep crashing in, right? And then this is your turn marker. So every time it gets closer and closer,
and you have your turn marker is a wave and stuff.
Right. So
but no, you're right. It's a very
pretty
light
on theme.
skinned. Outside of the book mechanic, it could be schemed.
Themed
any which way, really. So so the theme is pretty light, but in certain areas it kind of works. So.
Comparisons to other games. What do you think?
As I said, there's a lot of mechanisms that are really similar in feel to other games, and at other times I feel like this is completely unique and certainly the combination feels fresh.
Right.
So comparisons to other games, I don't know. I feel like the turn order bit is it could be viticulture. It could be any number of different games with that mechanic. Obviously, Solkin comes to mind with the
wheel,
Lazy Susan.
Arnak. I get vibes of Arnak in this game.
If I had to pick a game that is closest to this, I would say Arnak, even though it really doesn't play anything like it.
No, but it's just maybe it's got a lot of different paths. Maybe that's part of it, right?
Yeah.
Because Arnak has those paths too.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. It just, but I don't know, just the overall, like the impression that I get when I walk away is very similar to Arnak.
Yeah.
And partly because you can kind of chain things, right? You can say, okay, I'm gonna train this worker.
Right.
Gives me these steps.
Which does this. You set your dominoes.
Gives me this, and then I can do that with this, and and so you can chain. So like Arnak starts out really simple, and you can only do a couple things. By the end, you're doing like 20 different things on your turn.
And it does have the same vibe of I don't have enough time to do what I want to do.
Yes.
Very much so. It has that. It has that exact feel. It's like, oh, you get to the end of your turn, like I just need one more turn.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh.
Well, you get six actions per turn times 5 turns, so it's 30
actions
total
and the game is done.
That you have. And
Yeah.
So
you've got to really min max that.
And so for that, if you love that min maxing thing, you can absolutely have a lot of fun
sink your teeth into this. Yeah.
So but overall, what are your thoughts? What are your final thoughts on Atlantis Exodus?
I like it. There's a lot to take in, like we'd mentioned, and there is a lot of layers. And I think those are my final takeaways with this game. And it's a game that, if you asked me to play it, I definitely would.
Yes. I think my final thoughts. I think initially there has to be an investment of time and effort.
Yeah.
There's some games where it just takes the rules guy or gal to like invest the time and learn the game and then just teach the others.
And it's a quick teach. This
one, I think. You can teach it fairly quickly, but for the players to really glom onto it, they need to play. They're going
to want to min max a game.
Yeah.
They're going to want to they're going to want a game in that genre.
Yeah. So it's going to absolutely require a bit of investment of time and energy to get going with it.
Yeah.
But once you get going with it, it plays super smoothly. It's fun. It's relatively easy to kind of play.
Oh, and replayability is definitely there.
Replayability and everything I feel is there. And I just find that it just takes that little bit of investment up front to really get into it.
Absolutely.
But once you're there, there's some really fun. If you love those resource management games, if you love min-maxing, kind of planning your turn, there's a little bit of variance, but not too much. And in fact, sometimes you want the variance. For example, when you don't like the workers that are available on the first rondel here, you can go for the random two, and maybe you get the guy that you need, right?
Yeah.
So I feel like any luck is kind of mitigated, or even adds value to your turn, potentially. So
There's no die rolls in this game. There's no dice.
No dice.
So this is all just like placing.
Yeah, there's a little bit of luck, but it's much more about one of those kind of Euro type games.
You choose your path.
You choose your path, and it's about who made the most of the opportunities presented to them.
Absolutely, yeah.
So we hope this this review gave you a sense of the game, what we liked about it, what we disliked about it. And we really hope that you give this one a try, though. At least that's what I would say. Is it's worth a try.
Absolutely,
to see if it's something you'll really enjoy. So, thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to get out there,
get gaming, and be legendary.